Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today we're doing a review of the MMORPG Lost Ark. It's been trending a bit on Steam lately, so I thought I'd take a look myself. But before we get to that, I'd like to ask you to please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps out the channel, and who knows, maybe one day I'll have over 1 million subscribers and you'll be able to say you got in while it was still small. So, if you're unfamiliar with the channel, maybe this is the first time you see one of my videos, and you don't know what kind of games I play, I'm pretty into RPGs in general. So I like to give you a little background to let you know what kind of review you're going into right off the bat. And that is, I love RPGs, don't really like multiplayer games, but I play a lot of them. Don't really like MMOs, really at all. But again, I play a lot of them. So that does pose some bias going into this. But I think I gave it quite a fair shake. I played it for over an hour, and I think I got a pretty good handle on what kind of game it is. Now you got a good idea of where I'm coming from. Let's get a little background on the game itself. This is one of the new Amazon-developed games by Smilegate RPG, which is an interesting name for this developer. I believe this is the first game that they've made. It's definitely the only one they have listed on Steam at least. Now, I don't want to just ramble on about the game for a while and then wait until the very end to give my overall opinion of the game. So I'll go ahead and tell you right now. It is pretty bad. The gameplay was pretty good. I didn't have any glitches or anything, so technically, okay. Graphics-wise, yeah. Basically, the graphics go for kind of a Final Fantasy, hyper-realistic, accentuated humanoid features, like make everybody look incredibly beautiful and detailed, just like Final Fantasy does. But it kind of falls short. There are moments where you can definitely tell. I mean, you are playing this for free, so there is something to be said for that. But you know what they say, you get what you pay for. Now, before I go into any more detail on criticism of the game and everything, I'd like to first say that I'm sure the developers worked really hard on this, so I'm sure maybe later on, if you get several hours into it, you don't have the money, but you have a computer that can run this game pretty well, I could definitely see how some people could possibly like it. But where I'm coming from is somebody who's played a lot of MMOs, and I personally feel like in every category, this one falls short of pretty much every other MMO I've ever played. So, criticism number one, the graphics. The graphics aren't bad. They look good. They look pretty and everything. But they also have moments where it kind of glitches out a little bit and it doesn't look right. They're really going for this Final Fantasy kind of graphics, and that's fine and everything if you like those kind of games, because that's what it's going for. But when you have something like Black Desert Online that showcases what you can really do with this kind of art style, it really makes this feel like a much inferior, dated version of that. Now, the reason I put this first is because I don't really care about graphics, even with MMOs, because I'd rather have a more interesting story where I have more RPG elements, right? So that's where I kind of get into the next thing. It's a little more important to me. The character creator in the game is similar to Diablo 2, or I guess Diablo 3. I haven't played much of it. But all of your character classes, like warrior, mage, all that kind of stuff, gunner, the stuff that's available to play as, you have it linked to your gender. And I kind of don't like that because, personally, I like magic. So in RPG games, I normally play with a magic character, and I'm not one of those guys who likes playing as a female character. If you're like that, more power to you, but I personally like playing as a representation of myself in a game. I kind of feel like that's what an RPG is. It's supposed to let you role play as this fictional character, kind of like vicariously living through them in an experience that you would never be able to live in your own personal life. That's one of the reasons why I like RPGs so much. However, when you restrict things like gender to classes, it basically means that either I can't play the way I want to play, or I can't play with the character I want to play with. And I think that kind of like gives me a bad taste in my mouth right off the bat. And I feel like, personally, MMO, regular RPG, any kind of RPG game in the modern day, if you got the technology to build an RPG, there is absolutely no... I mean, you have a character creator in the very beginning of the game. I don't see a reason why, logically, you cannot build a game where you can create a character of whatever gender you want. And to elaborate a little more on that, RPG games, my biggest thing is choice. And I didn't really feel like the game, at least in the beginning, gave you much choice on what to do, where to go. It was literally like a, go here, do this, go here, do this. And I understand, like, in the beginning of a game, especially like an RPG or an MMO specifically, your goal is to introduce a person to the world. But as somebody who likes games like Fallout, you know, those kind of games really introduce you to the world. You look at the opening of something like Fallout 3 with the Vault, where you have so much choice in how you do things, even in the beginning when you're, you know, in a linear story, but you still have choices on how to play out that character. And then on top of that, you have Fallout New Vegas and other games like that, where you constantly are presented with choices, meaningful choices that affect you later on in the game. And I don't think this game gave me any choices at all in the entire first hour of gameplay. And even once I got like out of the tutorial area or whatever, it just did not feel was even playing an RPG. It was like I was playing something new, where it's trying to emulate what an RPG is without actually having any of the core root of an RPG. And that's something in general I'm a little concerned with in games nowadays, is like, especially with MMOs. Like, MMOs back in the day, I used to play stuff like RuneScape and Tibia and stuff like that, and like, they weren't graphically great. I used to play browser-based games like Travion, which, you know, you were literally just playing an RPG through text and selecting things through that. So graphics don't really bother me in any way on this kind of stuff. But when you present me with a game that, like, there's no substance. Everything in this game is really shallow. And now I can get into, like, the story part. The story is literally, like, cut and paste RPG tropes. Like, literally, there's a moment at the beginning where it literally calls you the chosen one. Despite the fact, that's another thing. In the very beginning of the game, there are like 3 intros. There's 3 like prologues. It like says that you were chosen after winning the arena. And then it does some other kind of weird origin where like I'm chosen by the elf queen to carry on her soul. And then which is completely separate, making it like, okay, so what the hell? Am I the arena champion that defeated the demons, or am I the elf queen's apprentice? I'm confused, because you just did 2 intros that sound like 2 completely different characters. And the worst thing about it is these intros sound like interesting stories. Good, interesting stories that I would like to actually play. Like, it's literally establishing more story for your character than the gameplay does in like the first 10 minutes. It's literally just telling you, hey, you were an arena champion that was chosen to defeat the demons and protect the world from the demons. And then I'm like, yeah, okay, let's get in it. Let's fight these demons. I wish I could have done the arena thing, but let's fight the demons. That's what this game about. Let's fight those demons. Oh, okay, I defeated the demons. Well, that's weird. I would have liked to actually play that instead of reading it on a screen. And then it goes into the freaking prologue after I made my character and I actually am a person or whatever. And it's like, you were chosen to pass on the soul of the elf queen to you, and then an evil sorceress led demons in and tried to steal and stole her soul. And I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, let's go get her soul back. Let's defeat this evil demon sorceress woman. Alright, let's do this. And then it's like, then you defeated her and you got her soul back and everything. And I'm like, what the hell? You've told me 2 entire stories already in this game of my character that I'm supposed to be playing, and I haven't got to be a part of any of it. How is that an RPG? It's literally like somebody wrote the story, which, again, both of these stories are fine, but they're not original in any way. They're literally plots ripped straight out of like crap like Fable and well, actually the Elf Queen one's pretty original, I think. I haven't really played anything like that, but that was good. That would have been fun to play. And it's like they're just wasting this writing, and then I spend like, I'm looking for the Ark. What the hell is this Ark? Am I playing frickin' Borderlands now? I'm so confused with this plot line, and I don't care about any of it now, because the game has already established that it'll just tell the story without me. And it makes it hard to care about any of the characters in the game or anything. So, long story short, I didn't like it at all. And I was pretty put off by how the game begins, because in my opinion, if I sit down and play a game and it wastes my time right off the bat and just kind of doesn't give me any choice. Another thing, like RPGs like Fable and stuff, you start off at the bottom, and I like that. I like games where I start off with nothing and I learn things. That way I care about them. This game, you don't learn anything. You don't care about anything. You start off with like 10 spells right off the bat, and I thought like, oh, it's doing a thing where it like foreshadows that, I get all these spells. No, it starts me off at the beginning of the game with all these spells and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I can upgrade them, but like, I got all these spells and I didn't level up once. Granted, like, some games like Dragon Age Origins where, you start off, you've been training as a mage forever, and you only know like 2 spells. That seems a little ridiculous, right? But this is the complete inverse of that. I don't know shit about this character, and I'm already a badass. Like, I don't care. All the badassery that my character's done to establish themselves, I haven't been a part of it. I've been disconnected from my character at the starting point of the game. And I think that really, that phrase right there, really sums up the core problem with this game. Now, if you have a problem with my opinion, if you disagree, feel free to leave a comment down below. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. But either way, hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching.